Welcome to Mindset Mastery Moments, the podcast dedicated to helping you unlock your full potential through the power of mindset. Join Dr. Alisa Whyte, a transformative creator and multi-award-winning trailblazer, as she guides you on a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. With a background in corporate leadership and workforce development, Dr. Alisa has dedicated her career to inspiring individuals to achieve their goals and dreams. Known as the #1 mindset disruptor, she firmly believes that the key to success lies within the mind. Dr. Whyte has witnessed the incredible impact a shift in mindset can have on one's life, career, and relationships. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just beginning your journey of self-discovery, you'll find valuable lessons, inspiring stories, and practical tools to elevate your life. In each episode, Dr. Alisa engages with thought leaders, coaches, and changemakers from around the globe, exploring their journeys and the mindsets that have propelled them to success. Get ready to reframe your perspective, embrace challenges, and cultivate the mindset necessary to achieve your dreams. Now let's dive into today's episode and discover how to master your mindset for a brighter, more fulfilling future.
Hello, Disruptors, and welcome to another exciting episode of Mindset Mastery Moments. This is one that I absolutely waited for weeks, and I am finally at the moment where I get to interview another phenomenal leading lady who says that being self-centered is the ultimate way to success. You know, I have struggled so much with juggling my moral compass of being kind, being sweet, and in my earlier years, making sure that everybody was comfortable. And I have to say that they liked me. I am learning on my journey as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as a friend, sister, or whatever they call me, that I have to learn how to be really good at taking care of myself to be able to pour into other people's cup. As a matter of fact, as a lecturer, I just told my students about that today. So can you imagine the excitement when I have an expert in studio that helps us understand what self-centered really is and how not really focusing on ourselves could be limiting our success measures and really achieving the things we say we want. Today, we have a phenomenal woman who started off on a profound healing journey, and she is one of Fortune 500's executives in Silicon Valley, and she has been doing some really phenomenal things. I am talking about the one and only gorgeous, fabulous Miss Hilary Silver. Hilary, welcome to Mindset Mastery Moments, and we can't wait to talk to you.
Well, hi. Thanks for having me.
We're so excited to have you. And of course, when I first saw your work and your bio, I was like, what do you mean? Someone has actually figured this out? Because I am struggling. So let's just say I'm going to be really selfish on this episode because you're going to be helping me. I am in the transition of figuring out what self-centered is and what it's not. So Hilary, before we get any further, please tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and who you are.
Well, that's an awfully big question. And the older I get, the longer that is. So I'm finding ways to condense it. And so I'll just say I started as a psychotherapist with a private practice, did that successfully for about 14 years, and closed my practice in 2017 and launched an online coaching company. And I work with super high achieving women. And the company is called Ready for Love. And it really helps high achieving women who are successful in their careers and they have amazing lives and they have all these great things going for them, but their love lives have been disappointing and they've just not really been able to be as successful in their love lives as they are in other areas of their life. I've done that now for 7 years. So I'm the founder of that company. And after a while, I just started to feel like, I want to talk about more things. This is limiting me. I want to be able to talk about more things. And so all the 25 years that I've been working with clients over all these years, I've really just kind of identified what really is at the root of everybody's issue, no matter what the presenting problem is, love life problems, work problems, not getting beyond where you want in your career, struggling with just internal happiness or, internal issues.
Yes.
All of it boils down to what we're going to be talking about today. And so I'm talking about this anywhere and everywhere that I can. Forthcoming book, my own podcast, and all of that. So that's what I'm up to.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for sharing that. And congratulations on making that shift. Now, you said something that always makes me curious on the podcast is when someone says, I made this big shift. You did psychotherapy, which is a very good, solid career path, and you make decent money. I feel like people think it's all bread and butter because I worked in a little bit of that industry, and it's a lot more work than people think, because they think we don't use our hands and lift heavy things or whatever in anything counseling or coaching. But what would drive you to making that shift?
Well, I mean, a few things. There were a few really important key factors going on for me. I really felt like after a while that I was really repeating myself over and over and over and over again, that despite what people were coming to talk to me about, whatever top of mind presenting issue they had, I always led them through this path of developing a relationship with themselves so that they were no longer going to need me to help them solve that issue in their life. So building the relationship with self, I started repeating myself slowly over time. I started creating a curriculum before I realized I was doing it. And I just wanted to make a bigger impact. And I knew I could help more people if I shifted away from one person at a time in the privacy of an office. And I just took the leap. And it took me a while to figure it out, to crack the code, because, coaching online is a very different animal. I didn't have the marketing background or any of that. So it took me a while, and I don't like to use the word failure, but I had a lot of misfires, I'll say, along the way. And I finally cracked the code and I figured it out. And I've been able to help so many more people in this way than ever I would have before. And I just wanted, so it came down to wanting to make a bigger impact, wanting to reach more people, and to serve people in a different way, because Ready for Love is a group experience. So the women are supporting each other, learning from each other, and that's a scalable business. Mm-hmm. So at one point I had over 100 women in the program at one time. Wow. So talk about making a bigger impact. It just was like a thriving community at that point. It still is, but that was, I think, the max.
The max, you're pivotal. Yeah. And I can get that. So mindset wise, what was that like for you to shift from, I don't know if you had your own psychotherapy practice or you did. So you were still an entrepreneur at the same time as a professional. What kind of mindset shift did it require to make that transition?
The big shift. I think it was not just a mindset shift, it was an identity shift. Ooh. An entire identity shift, because I had all the time thought, I'm helping people. And I felt and as many caregivers do or helping professions do, a little bit at conflict about considering myself a businesswoman. Mm. There was an internal conflict for me, as a lot of people, I think, in terms of physical therapists or massage therapists, that you're helping people, so therefore you shouldn't consider yourself a businesswoman. I thought myself as I was in private practice. Right. And then one day, it just clicked for me. And to be honest, I think it's because I took my youngest kid to school full time, and I was like, I am not doing this practice and juggling small kids. I just was ready to fully step into my business owner identity. And I am a business owner and my business is helping. It was a big shift. And I started thinking about myself differently, seeing myself differently, talking to myself differently. Ready for Love is a multi-8-figure company. So it was a major shift in not just my mindset, but really in my entire identity.
Wow. And so often as women, we experience that. So let's get into the meat and potatoes. Tell us about Ready for Love.
Yeah. So Ready for Love literally is a combination of education. So there's curriculum, online classroom. I know you do this type of stuff too. So there's an online curriculum, an online classroom, and it's delivered to them weekly. And then they learn that on their own so that they come to the coaching calls every week already educated and informed, and we're not using our coaching calls for basic training. We're using that time to answer questions about how to apply what they've learned into their life specifically. So we compress time, we collapse time around getting them the results that they want.
Right.
And then the coaching is a combination of group calls and one-on-one sessions that they get. And then, of course, we have a thriving community. So that's really what Ready for Love is. And more than really about finding love, though a lot of our women do. So many women do.
Right.
What really lights me up is the change that happens inside of them, who they become along the way. It really is about who they become. And so when women say things like, Hilary, before the program, the old me, I would have done this, but today this thing happened and the new me did this. And that is what gets me so excited, especially when it's a big mindset shift or they stop doing the self-defeating behaviors or they stop holding themselves back in any way.
Yeah.
So that's really what it's about.
Awesome. So what are the main things and I feel like when I hear Ready for Love, I think most people think just the romantic love. I also apply it to just ready for loving, like preparing myself to get to the true meaning of self-love and awareness. I'm sure that's the journey you usher the women through. What are the basic proponents of your system? What do you teach? And exactly who is your ideal person that you would work with? Yeah,
my ideal women are 40 and up. My sweet spot is between 40 and 60. Between 40 and 60. And most of them have been married and divorced sometimes maybe more than once. Sometimes they're widows. Sometimes, but not as often, they missed the boat and they never found their person and they're in their 40s or 50s and never got married. And that's something that they want. And they're uber hyper successful women. We work with executives, entrepreneurs, really, highly educated, highly successful women. So they're really smart and they've worked on themselves a lot and they've just not been able to figure out why the heck this is such a problem for them. Yeah. So Ready for Love is, as a therapist and a master coach, there's multiple modalities in my program. I've taken my favorites, all the different modalities, and I basically take my favorite bits from all of that. I put it in a blender and then I just baked it up in my own concoction. So there's bits and pieces of so many things that actually walk women through healing childhood stuff and past relationship stuff and all kinds of trauma work. And we use EMDR techniques for that, narrative therapy for that, timeline therapy for that, family systems work. We do a lot of stuff around healing your inner child, but it's not all just like super deep therapy. It's a combination of law of attraction and energy and energetics, and a lot of mindset work. And I really am giving them a lot of education around relationships because most of us learn what we don't want from our families. Right. It's pretty rare that we learn what we do want. Even if it was a good experience, we're still critical of what we grew up with and we want something better or different, but it wasn't modeled for us. Exactly. So there's a lot about boundaries and how to navigate power and control issues, communication strategies and techniques. And it's just so many things all in one place, all the way to talking about sex and writing your online profile. It's like it's everything.
It's everything to make you ready to receive the love that you desire. And that is so, believe it or not, there's just so many dating coaching and advice out there. What would you say? Because that's not what you're doing specifically, but it is part of what you're doing. Yeah. What sets Ready for Love apart from the typical, if you had to say, in terms of modalities?
There's a lot.
Know, but I'm asking because I know someone's like, well, what's the difference? Yeah.
Well, there's a lot. There's a lot of difference because there's a lot out there. And I've even bought some things just to see, like to do my research. And, I don't know of anybody who's a licensed therapist as I am with the years and years and years, 25 years of work in this industry. So I really know what I'm doing and I really know how to get transformation. So we go deeper than most people can. But it's also my style. Like, I don't lie to my clients just to make them feel better. I'm really radically honest with them. And so it is what I teach. It is really the foundation is your relationship with you, which is where self-centered has come from. It really is about learning how to be a woman who's high value, to get your own back and to make yourself the most important person in your life. And then to reframe the thinking around that. We've all been taught that being selfless is noble. And where does that get you? It gets you at the end of the line in your own life. If you're not going to put yourself first, nobody else will. So there's a lot of change around that has to happen.
Absolutely. The thing I'm curious about, what are like 3 of the main limiting beliefs that you're constantly, no matter what age, religious belief, ethnicity, that you find is so common and high number that are literally keeping women per se in your programs from finding the love that they truly desire?
Yeah, it's so sad to hear it, but it's no matter how successful on the outside, I'm not worthy of love. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve it. I'm not lovable. There's something wrong with me.
Wow.
And those types of fears are so buried in the subconscious that in your day-to-day busy life, you don't realize that that's in there. And because you can point to your career and all your success and think, I'm confident and successful and powerful. Look, see, but that's situational confidence. That's not true confidence, because most of them, if you look at their track record with men, it does not reflect that of a woman at their level, nor does it reflect that of a woman who knows their worth and their value. So that's really what we do, is we really like roll up the sleeves and dig deep into the subconscious and rewire all that stuff in their subconscious.
And that is why, again, you said it, and it was so obvious for me, and I was playing devil's advocate with saying, well, what sets it apart? I believe that this is why even when I'm coaching, I would have some of my clients, you might want to do a little bit of therapy and then come back to us. And then you work with a therapist and me, so we can, because it's needed. And so, like for me, I got certified in NLP, BHD, and different modalities to enhance my coaching practices, because it needed more than just, oh, let me hold your hand and get you to change your mindset. Why? I don't know why I need to change my mindset. This thing works for me. I'm successful. What's wrong with you, right? That's what people think. But when you're able to create an environment where you go deeper and deeper and deeper to the bottom of the surface level things, like I'm not worthy, you find a whole lot of, that's where the childhood stuff comes in and all the other things. I saw a woman today just simply talking about, there's a lot of women parading in nice dresses and long hair and lipstick, but we are carrying so much masculine energy. I just want to hear your take on balancing masculine and feminine energy, because I know I'm holding it up, but I can't wait to get to being self-centered. So you can teach us that, but that's the last question I'm going to ask before we get into that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people talk about being more in your feminine energy, and there's a lot of misguided information out there. It's not about just pretending you're a damsel in distress and asking for help. It's so much more than that. There's a reason high achieving women are in their masculine energy, where they're the driver and they're doing everything and they're pushing and they're in control. And a lot of that is anxiety driven. But it's also from a place of not feeling worthy of receiving. If you're, I'm going to tell a funny little metaphor, but my husband and I met playing ultimate frisbee, which looks like soccer or football, but with a frisbee. And we played on a co-ed team, and there was a co-ed team that we played against called Holes and Poles. And so I talk about that with my clients. I'm like, be a hole, ladies. You have to receive.
You have to receive
the hole.
I love it.
Yeah, but they're often in the drivers, in the pole position because they have needed to survive. It's what they were, who they were taught to be.
Yes.
It's how they were treated when they were young.
Right.
And they don't know how to lean back and receive. That is feminine energy. And you can't be in your feminine energy if you don't feel worthy of receiving and you don't feel safe to do that. And so most women don't do that because it feels very vulnerable and scary to let go of that.
Yes.
And it causes a lot of anxiety, but that's the work that I do, is that's the deeper
Taking us back
work.
to being the whole.
Yeah.
So that we can have a pole.
Yes.
That's how things work and fit, guys. So I love it. And that's the thing about the receiving energy. I remember a couple years ago, I was with my partner. We were traveling international and they were taking us through like this security thing to see a national monument. And I had to leave my purse, but we had just started dating and I'd been single for like a long time, just minding my business, drinking my water, keeping my edges slick, as I would say, and also just being the boss of everything that I do, right? And I still am a very more at that point, still very feminine, but you wouldn't believe I was not as feminine as I thought I was, because he was like, don't worry, I'll watch your pocketbook. I'll go forward first, because they separate men and women. I'll go forward and I got you. And then you could come through so your bag is, secure. Because I was flipping out because we walk around with our passports when we travel internationally, which is probably not a good idea. But anyway, I saw the woman doing this with my bag and I said, ma'am, I told you not to open my bag until I am present. And he's like, Alisa, hello? Like, he's trying to remind me that we had a deal. Well, I'm not used to being protected or taken care of by anyone. And so once I got over there, I was like, I'm sorry, but she would not listen and da-da-da. And he goes, but I told you, I got you. And I said, yeah, but you weren't looking at the exact moment when she started doing that. He said, I told you, I got you. And I was like, you know what? You're right. You did say that. And I was like, yeah, I got single girl problems. And
it's hard to let go.
Right. But, and I love that he recognized what it was. And he was so like reminding me and understanding of where I was. And that's when you're in, and that's the other thing I'm sure you teach your women, is when you get around the man who's functioning and is masculine in the right way, it's easier for you to practice and work and live and be in your feminine. It's not overnight because you have to unlearn and relearn. But this is the aspect where it really, I don't know how to receive protection and provision, which when we talk about protection and provision, we think about man giving us a home, a car. It's way deeper than that. Please, guys and gals, we were just selling stuff over there. Like, because you can have a man that provides all that, and then you don't have someone who literally watches your pocketbook, which you're more obsessed about in a moment in a whole nother country. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I thought I'd go ahead and be vulnerable as well. So let's go into, what does Hilary Silver talk about when she's saying you not being self-centered is holding back your success?
Yeah, it's just a big, juicy topic. And I picked that language, of course, because it gets people like, wait, what?
How dare she?
Yeah. I want everyone to be self-centered. My mission is to change the way we think about that language. I want it, it really, selflessness is not noble. It is not noble to be selfless, to sacrifice the self.
Destructive.
It is. And we're all taught that to,
yes,
to live that way. But what ends up happening is we don't really know who we are. We looked outside of ourselves for who we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to be, and the approval and the validation and the acceptance and the fitting in and the belonging. We look outside of ourselves for who we're supposed to be for that to happen. And we end up not living the life that we are meant to live. And we also end up not being able to then therefore take responsibility for ourselves. So a big piece of being self-centered is actually that you are the problem and you are the solution always.
Wow.
Anytime something is going on in your life,
Yes.
look no further than the mirror. If something's not working in your life, either you need to learn a new tool or a skill, or you need to, work on your mindset or something, it is, you are always the problem. And that's what's so empowering about it, because now you can fix it. It really makes us unstoppable when we are willing to accept that we are the center of the universe. I am the center of my universe. You are the center of your universe.
Permission granted. And we want you to understand why I love your entire definition of what that's self-centered. So today in my class, I use the word self-full, and it's the same definition, because no one is, I made a post about a year and a half ago, no one is coming to save you. And we've seen it all over. The thing I love most about your definition is that you are the problem. My partner and I, when we're looking at things in our business operations and our coaching clients, or just relationships in general, even with family and friends, one thing I love about that the two of us always agree on, where it's like, I can't even be mad. I can be upset that this is happening, but I can't be mad at them, because there's something that I have been doing or I have done that has brought, for me, this lack of a clear set boundary, or I didn't have any at all, or I didn't articulate it, or I don't reinforce it, that's bringing on the problem. So now that we always know where the problem is, it's very easy to go, well, what did I do? And now I have to take a recourse, whatever. I mean, shut it down, whatever that looks like, nip it in the bud. However, it's different things at different times, but I love that you said it's up to you. And so when everyone thinks about self-centered, when they think about gimme, gimme, get, but they don't think accountability and responsibility. And so that's the twist in Hilary's definition of being self-centered. And now we can say, what are those limitations that we have created around the thought of being self-centered in your definition that makes it so hard for us to make that mindset shift into, it's about me, and it really is all about me, and it's up to me. And therefore, when I am, then things are realized around me, including winning and gaining and meeting my goals and achieving and attaining. It's all about me. What's blocking us from that?
Well, firstly, because I think we're not taught this way. So I think we blame, we point fingers, we think that it's going to make us feel better if it's not our fault.
Right.
You go to your therapist and they're going to tell you it's not your fault. You go to your friends and they're going to say it's not your fault. Your boss fired you. It's their loss. You're so
married
great.
to a narcissist.
Yeah, like there's always like an excuse,
right,
or blame, but that renders us impotent to make a change. And so I want it to be me. I always want it to be me, because then I have the power to make the changes. So first of all, it's in our programming and how we're conditioned, and it's in religious doctrine. One of my clients actually said that she came from a Catholic family, but it happens in all religions. But she learned this song called Joy. Jesus first, others then you come last. Literally, it was the song that she learned when she was a little girl. Like, it literally,
a song that's similar.
I told her I'm going to use that. I'm going to tell everybody, because she's like, okay. I mean, it's part of our conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
But the other resistance, I think, is I think people are afraid to take responsibility because it means I made a mistake, or I'm not good enough, or I didn't know what I was doing. Maybe there's some shame around it. People are resistant to that. They're really resistant to hearing it. So not everybody is a good client for me, because I can't help people who aren't ready to take responsibility for themselves. If they don't think they're the problem, I can't help, because I can't change.
I can't change your ex or your husband or your boss. I can't.
Yeah. I can't change society. I can't change where you live. I can't change men. I can't change your partner, like we want it to be us.
Yes.
Yes. And so the big part, the big backlash is around people who've been traumatized a lot. If they've been abused, if they've been with a narcissist, the whole narcissist community, I have a problem with that, honestly, because who attracts the narcissist? There's something wrong with that person that they need to look at. And so if you keep pointing at the narcissist for being the big, bad, scary wolf, what are you going to do?
Speak on it, because I've met a lot of narcissists who just went, shoop.
Yeah.
They don't have a home here.
No, exactly. So again, like they call it victim blaming. If you, but even somebody who's been through a lot of betrayal or trauma or whatever, if we can just see how we contributed,
yes,
then we can see, I did that, or I didn't do this. I should have done that, but I didn't. Okay. Well, just if we're willing to learn our lessons,
right,
and we look for the opportunity for growth, then we know we'll never do it again. So if it's always the narcissist's fault and you're looking and looking and looking to avoid the narcissist, and you've got your binoculars on and you're trying to make sure you avoid them or outsmart them.
But you keep attracting more because
that's right. You're going to keep attracting more because that's what's on your mind, number one, but also you're not doing the work on you. What is it about you that makes you like attracting these people? So there's a book out by somebody right now, and she's kind of on the book tour, and her book is called It's Not You. And I'm like, hell yeah, it is. Like I want to take that on because it is you.
Oh my gosh.
It
oh
is.
no, they didn't. We should have a conversation. Well, we don't want to start a fight, but someone
I know, I don't want to start a fight either.
No one is building a platform on that. It is always you. Everything. And that's when people talk about resilience and a resilience mindset. That's the first thing. It's me being accountable and responsible for me. And a lot of times we talk about self-love, and we love to sit and be like, self-love. I'm like, can we talk about self-responsibility and self-accountability first?
Yes.
Because that will be the highest form of loving yourself.
Yes.
Because from there, all things flow. If it's up to, what is not me? I didn't pick my parents and the day I was going to be born. And who knows? The way I'm poking around in life these days, I think I might have picked that even.
I kind of actually believe that we do. I know it's like super out there, but I think we kind of sort of
rearrange this whole
environment that we're in.
I'm starting to believe.
Yeah, it's an old philosophy that I stumbled upon when I was an undergrad, and I really kind of believe that we pick that situation for what we're destined to learn and become in this life. And I mean, whether any of your listeners agree with that or not,
they know
it doesn't matter. The point being is that what happens to us isn't our fault, but it is our responsibility. What are we going to do about it?
Yes.
That's how we get past trauma. That is how we get past the things that have hurt us, is to not let that define us and impact us in a negative way. We get to decide what we're going to do with it. That's what self-centered is about.
Oh, come on, girl. You're saying the things. I want you all to just sit here for a minute. Stuff happens to you, but how you pivot, how you respond, what you do next is all up to you. I tell people when they hear my story and my journey, they're like, how did you bounce back from that? I chose to. And I got up every day and kept choosing, because it was not easy. And I was remembering after my divorce, I remember like maybe 4 years had passed. And I woke up one day after having major surgery and looking at where things were financially, and I chose not to be forgiven. And I had this maybe 3, 4, maybe almost 24 hours, I would say, of woe is me. It's because this bad thing happened because of him. And I want to tell him off right now. And I did the thing. I guess I feel like there's different stages of grief. And I had not literally given my time to grieve to where I was angry and understood, because I was so brief on pivoting and moving forward, which is so important, of course. But I felt like that was my lesson in learning, that you can choose to and then unchoose to move forward in progress, in healing, in recovery, in standing, in being the light and the tower that you're supposed to be for yourself. Because let's tell you, it's so easy to be up. Oh my God, Hilary's in the hospital. Hilary, what do you want me to make you? Just make sure Hilary get her nice nightgown, and just fussing over Hilary. It's so easy to take care of our kids. It's so easy to be the wife that's doting for her husband and her mom and saving everybody, you know, the Captain Save-A-Ho syndrome. That looks really great on our resume. But when it's time for us, taking care of yourself is accountability, responsibility, and then saying, I get to choose. And I can't, like, you all need to sit and play this back a little bit and sit with that, because you would understand all the superheroes you see, Hilary, myself, and all the people you admire, Oprah, Donald Trump, it doesn't matter. All the famous people we've seen really hit rock bottom and come back. It's literally that they had to at some point take accountability and pivot. There's no other way. There's no other way. Like, you can go to 100 years of therapy, 5 decades of coaching, have the perfect, most outstanding coach. If you did not choose, there's nothing. And that's why Hilary said, I'm not for everybody. I can't coach everybody. So Hilary, tell us how, if you can walk us through like a scenario with becoming self-centered enough that we do right by ourselves and achieve our goals.
So from somebody who's not living that way to somebody who is, I mean, it just depends how ready somebody is for that change.
Mm-hmm.
And when the light bulb goes off, it's like, it's just life changing. Women have said literally I feel like the windshield wipers have gone off and I can finally see for the first time. It's that kind of an aha. It's a new way of thinking. So it starts with just reminding yourself that, no, this is who I am now. And I have some processes that I teach women and men now. I love what I love about being like a Hilary Silver brand is that I get to help everybody now. When men are signing up for my email list and grabbing my freebies and stuff that go along with some of my certain episodes. But I have certain methods that I teach that really retrain the brain. It's a combination of neuroscience, like neurofeedback techniques, like creating new neural pathways in your brain with like the manifestation principles. And we start changing the way we think about ourselves, the way we talk to ourselves, what we believe is possible for us.
Yes.
And it literally is a decision.
Mm-hmm.
It is a decision. When you're ready for the change, you just decide. It's one of my favorite words. You just decide, and everything else after that is easy, because you might just have to remind yourself in the beginning, but it's, oh wait, I don't do that anymore. This is how I do things now. This is what works for me now. This is what I do now. And it's, it's not necessarily self-care. It's more about considering yourself first.
Yeah.
Prioritizing yourself first.
Right.
Knowing that your needs matter, your feelings matter, and to not like put yourself to the side, because what you're doing is you're saying this other person matters more than I do. Their feelings matter more than mine. Well, why is that? It's not true. You can decide that it's not true. And so, as you know, I know you know this, but behavior and actions and choices, that follows. It follows the way that you're thinking and feeling and believing about yourself. Right. So that the actions usually come last. The behaviors follow the thought. And so if you're really just catching your conversations that you're having with yourself, you can start making those behavioral changes too. And that's like having good boundaries and saying no and not, putting other people ahead of you. Or, one of my most recent episodes, I was talking about making fitness and making working out a habit, and that you're never too busy for you. You're too busy for the neighbor. You're too busy for a chore. You're too busy for a favor, but you're never too busy for you, ever. Yeah. That's self-centered.
Exactly. Yeah. That's self-centered. And then once you do show up for the neighbor or a friend, you're so perfect, whole, and complete. I say we all are, we're just that way, but we have to remember and tap into that. And then now you're able to, let's just say, for example, you're going out dating again after, being divorced and staying maybe single and healing for 2-3 years, going through Hilary's program. And because you become self-centered, when you show up, if he doesn't call after the date, you're not going to fall apart and not date again. It'll be like, it doesn't feel so great. His loss anyway. Yeah, where's the other guy? I'm sorry. And you might still have some funky feelings, but your way forward is not stopped, because now you're not going through the, what's wrong with me? Is it that I wasn't cute enough? Did I wear the wrong lipstick? Was my nose too pointy for him? You won't go through all those questions, because you have become a person that has mastered pouring into yourself, taking accountability for yourself, not taking other people's shit. Sorry, not taking other people's shit and making it yours, and just owning your own stuff and moving forward as you need to. So that's profound advice. Hilary, you've got to tell us, before we go into you sharing with us how to connect with you and all the wonderful things, we usually do a little bit of a game that's called Flip the Script, where I ask a couple questions that our guests always want to hear. I've got people in our movement. It's like, oh, I remember when you interviewed this one person and their definition of success sounded more to mine. I'm like, well, the thing about the whole thing of me asking that question is so that we see that it's personally defined. So I'm going to ask you this. When was a time in your life where you had to make a big mindset shift? What was it, and how did you pivot? And did it work in your favor?
Yeah, I mean, I think the transition from my therapy practice to online was when it was the most pivotal mindset shift for me. It took me 4 years to actually make that complete transition, to actually close my practice. I had lots of other programs that I had tried. I spent probably $100,000 in that 4 years on this coach and that program, trying to learn how to do marketing online, like everything. And nothing was working for me. And I tried and I tried and I tried and I tried. And until I figured out that my own obstacle was me. I had a thinking problem.
Wow.
And until I figured that out, nothing was going to work for me. And this is the thing, it's a blind spot. It's usually a blind spot for all of us, but it was a huge blind spot for me that I had a thinking problem, because I'd been a therapist for so long. I had already done a lot of my own healing work. I was helping other people with their own thinking problems. And I was actually quite successful up until that point. So it was kind of a blind spot for me. But what I came to discover was that I had a limiting belief that this kind of success wasn't for me. It's everyone else can have it, but not me. And
so you needed to overcompensate the imposter syndrome, sort of.
It wasn't that it was imposter syndrome. It was just that I can't have it, that I don't have what it takes. And it went all the way back to my childhood. There were some things like, I don't need to get into it. It's not necessarily like, it's not like super trauma, but it's just like what I learned from my environment.
Right.
That,
those are thoughts.
Yeah. The success is for other people.
Yes.
I'm a guest, I'm a visitor. I get to watch, I don't get to have it. And so the thoughts that I was having because of that were seeing other people having success and being like, well, why is it working for them and not for me? Why can they have it and not for me? And it wasn't like necessarily a negative towards them, but I just didn't understand. Yeah. But the more I said that, the further away my dream became. Wow. And so this script that I flipped was, instead of saying, why can she have it and I can't? It was, if she can have it, so can I. It changed everything.
Literally that simple of a thought process that you then followed with actions. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Instead of seeing it as like a big, vast chasm between where they are and where I am, it became seeing other people doing it meant that that's evidence it's possible instead. So it just changed everything for me. It was a big, huge, huge moment in my life. Yeah.
It is. And so even though we are so ahead on our healing and being self-centered journey, as I love to refer to, there's still blind spots that we get to uncover all the time. It's a process. Yep. It never ends. We will until we pass.
Yeah.
What is success for you?
Success, well, it changes all the time, but my favorite
Love that.
way of talking about success is, I've gotten there. Like I'm there. To me, hitting that place where I want to be is always when I'm living my life in a way where I get to do all the things that I want to do, how I want to do it, when I want to do it, with whom I want to do it, and I don't have to do any of the things that I don't want to do. To me, that's what it is. And if that means that money in the bank allows me to live that way, fine. If it's that I'm honoring myself and I'm living the way that I want to live and I'm not doing things I don't want to do and I'm being authentic, then that's what it means. But ultimately that I'm living my life on my own terms, how I choose.
Yeah.
What I want.
Limitless. I love it. Oh my goodness. So we get to do mindset bites to go. It's where I get my happy self off the camera and off the microphone and let you for 90 seconds or so just share, if this was your last few words to speak to anyone, what would you say? And just leave us with some mindset bites to go from Hilary.
Well, if you find yourself resisting this concept, I just want everybody to know that it's not about not giving. It's not about not being generous. It's not about withholding care and nurturing and love from people and give. It's not about not giving. It's just about giving to yourself first, considering yourself first. Because when you do that, you're showing up to everyone else in your life whole with your needs met, and you're not doing things inauthentically, things that you don't want to be doing. And so the idea really is to put yourself at the front of the line, to lead yourself, put yourself in the leadership position of your own life. You are leading yourself through your own life. And you just have to make yourself your number one priority. And when you do that, as a lot of you know, when you are a leader, the buck stops with you. So if something's not working, the best thing that you can always do anytime that you're stuck is to first ask yourself this question: how am I creating this? Or how have I contributed? How have I contributed? So how have I contributed? And what is it that I'm doing here? And then the next question is, well, what can I do differently? Really, that will get you unstuck from anything. It will help you break through. It will help you be happier. It will help you get everything that you want.
Oh, that is so profound. Hilary, you've been such a
off-the-cuff monologue. Honest monologue.
I think I make my guests nervous when I ask for that. It's like, what do you want me to say? Whatever. And knows what's so profound is you brought us back to really understanding the concept of really being responsible for ourselves and understanding the buck stops with you. It starts and it stops with you. And as you said, you're the center of your universe. And so that's just going to stay with me. I'll be quoting you all the time because when I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness, she's like answered prayer. So I think I followed you on all social media and everything when we first looked at it, because I'm like, I'm just hungry for more, because my belief systems, being raised a full devout Christian, which I'm not saying anything's wrong with Christian. Don't y'all say Dr. Alisa's on here bad mouthing Christian or religious beliefs. I'm just saying that there's so many things that are used inside religion that tells us exactly what your client was saying. I'm last. I'm after everybody else. And if you're not doing that, then you don't love God. You're not a good person. Like, you're told that from a child. Like, we always share the pen with your sister, And no, I don't. I taught kids that I was responsible for, to say, I can share with you later, but right now I don't want to.
Yeah. And it's okay to say no.
And the other person has to understand. She said she can share with you later, but right now she doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there something else you can find to go play with? And then they're checking back every 5 minutes. And then the other one goes, no, I said no. You're just watching them, and that was one of my best parts of my life. That's how I learned so much of myself, is watching children play, and then thought about, well, how ridiculous it is that we ask them to do that. And they're so little, they do not want to share. Why do we have to share? And the truth is, you don't have to. Now, sometimes it comes with a negative consequence that you might not want, but that's a choice.
Yeah.
Don't do it because you feel forced to. So thank you, Hilary, for being here. Tell us how that we connect with you. And if there's some part of your mailing list we can log on to, we obviously put everything in the description where we're watching and seeing this. But tell us so that those who are driving, if they just stick with it. And
yeah, it's pretty easy. Everything is on my website, hilarysilver.com. You can sign up to subscribe to my podcast there. I have a great freebie on my website. You can grab it there. You can find me on social through my website. So again, because people are driving. And if you want to check out some of the freebies that I've offered on previous episodes, it's hilarysilver.com/guides. And those are some free downloads that go along with some of the episodes that I've done on mindset changing. And like I just did one on stop tolerating things. So there's a toleration tracker. So it's a really great place to go visit. But I have to warn you, my website's pretty bold. So you might want to just prepare yourself.
Listen, I was going through your website the first time I saw it on my 24 inches, and I was like, yes, you channeled everything, and it made sense because when you're in that centered, when you become the center of your universe, you're limitless, and your website spoke limitless, fearless, brave, bold, and listen, I'm here and I don't care what y'all think, and I love it. So go to hilarysilver.com. The link is in the description wherever you're watching or seeing this, and connect with her. And if you're still looking for love, look no further. You need to get into some of this work that she is offering. It's really different when you're working with someone who has put the coaching and therapeutic side of things. Most of us need it. So don't hesitate.
The Ready for Love program is on a different website. It is readyforloveinc.com.
Okay.
And we don't have too much overlap there, but I'll give you that one too.
That will be in the description as well, guys. So Hilary, thank you so much for your time, for sharing with us, for teaching us, and for just being so vulnerable and encouraging and uplifting to our audience.
You are darling and smart and all the things. So thank you for having me.
So much. And we're looking forward to seeing you again.
Me too. Bye.
When the book's out.
Bye.
All right, Mindset Disruptors, we are over and out for this wonderful, empowering episode. Go out and be brave, be strong, and know that you are the center of your universe, and everything begins with how you think. Think, speak, do, become, and master that mindset. I'm Dr. Alisa, and Hilary, we're saying bye.